Good morning, friends, and welcome to some early morning Umineko When They Cry questions arc. It's hard to drink coffee when it's piping hot, but you can kind of create a air jet that sucks like a milliliter into your mouth, and then it's not too hot because it cools down instantly. Regardless, welcome back to Umineko When They Cry questions arc. The reason why I'm up recording so early in the morning is because yesterday I couldn't record at all. And today, I'm going to Olive Garden at 10:45. And it's 9:30, so I only have a fucking hour. So, hey, that's fine. My videos are only supposed to be an hour long anyways. And I have the cardboard tube as usual. Just because it's early, it doesn't mean I don't plan on screaming. Regardless, where we last left off, we started chapter 2 and learned quite a bit about Shannon and George's relationship. So that's something to keep in mind. What? I don't know. Regardless, let's get into this. I don't know how soon it's going to be until the killing in chapter 2 starts, but I'd imagine a couple episodes before then. So, regardless, let's get into this. I think this is Shannon talking, because we haven't seen Batware at all this chapter, so that would explain it, right? It's time for me to take a serious look at how full of myself I've been acting. I forgot. I'm furniture. Furniture isn't human. So I am a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human. And I am not permitted to wish for anything more. People sometimes develop affection for furniture they're used to using. Well, okay, I mean, you're not wrong. I like my chair and I like my bed. But that is an emotion on the human side, and the furniture has no right to hope for such a thing. It's enough that furniture serves with simple honesty day after day. That feeling I got when talking to George and Jessica is the same as a forbidden drug to me. And, are my levels actually good? I can't tell. I'm gonna check quick. Yeah, the levels were fine. I'm just retarded and it's early. So, yeah, and I forgot Bandicam levels just look weird. So, regardless, let's get back into this. In other words, it may be an emotion I must never experience. Shannon? You've had your head in the clouds for some time now. Do you not feel well? No. My apologies. Natsuhi's words were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsuhi until she had called. Normally it was essential that she focus on her cleaning at this time of day, but she spent all her time sighing and hardly making any progress. Even when there aren't any guests around, you must always be alert. Behavior like this is shameful for an Ushiromiyas family servant. Yes, ma'am. I will take care from now on. The head and my husband will return very soon. Have you finished cleaning the study? Have you finished cleaning the staircase? My apologies, not yet. Yes, I know. So I had Lunan do it. Who? That's a new character. Who's Lunan? While you were plodding around cleaning the hallway, she finished cleaning the study and the staircase. That's because, I wanted to clean it properly, so it took some time. Shannon was simple and honest, so she would always carry out her tasks seriously and properly without any omissions. So she was always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunan cleverly avoided doing extra work whenever it was possible. So she's kind of lazy, okay. So she could complete her jobs with a result that looked almost the same to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was a shrewd employee. Compared to that, it's probably fair to say that Shannon wasn't very shrewd at all, talking back to Natsuhi when Natsuhi was in a bad mood. Of course, there was nothing that Natsuhi couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased and she spoke sternly. And yet her slow, admonishing style of speech was even more terrifying, and finally made Shannon realize she had said the wrong thing. I hate when people just go, stop talking back to me, because it's just like, yeah, you know what they're saying is right, and you're just too much of a wimp to accept it, rather. Then perhaps you should aim to do a truly thorough cleaning. Shannon, I order you to clean the reception hall right now. It is an important hall, where several pictures treasured by the head are displayed, and where honored guests of the Ushiromiyas family are welcome. Clean it thoroughly, so that not a speck of dust remains, and so that even you are satisfied. Of course, you will finish before the day is out. Until you finish that and report to me, you will not be permitted any food or rest. Understood? Yes, madame. That is good. Servants should endeavor to only use those words. The next time you talk back, your punishment will be even more severe. So with that in mind, engrave these words into your heart. Yes, madame. Thank you for your guidance. You are welcome. I mean, Natsuhi is good at, like, being, I don't know, in charge. So even if she's kind of rude, she doesn't yell easily. Like, she can control herself, unlike Rosa does, you know? Behaving as though her headache was troubling her, Natsuhi headed off down the corridor. When she couldn't see her anymore, Shannon hung her head and sighed. This was what happened when she had her head in the clouds. Even though I'm bad at everything I do, I should be able to at least carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? It's because I can't even perform that very well that I'm crying so pathetically. But what's even more shameful is that not only have I been unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now when Natsuhi was scolding me, I imagined that person appearing and rescuing me. Yeah, of course you did. Nope, I'm all the way over here, apparently getting married to someone. If only George were here, would he casually step in and save me? Surely he'd show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he didn't know what was going on. Nimbly change the subject and make me forget I'd ever been rebuked by Natsuhi. I kept envisioning him, suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or on the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I was for him. Eva clearly told me. It's been repeating over and over in my dreams. You're still as clumsy as always, Shannon. Milady has been in a bad mood since this morning. That just now happened because you talk too much, when you should have just hung your head in silence. Cannon... I can't do the Shannon voice with just single words. Cannon was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he never left any trace of his presence. Hey, can you teach me how to walk quietly? I can't even get water at midnight without waking up my entire house. He probably could have stood there forever and she still wouldn't have noticed him. Sorry, clearing my throat. The expression on Cannon's face was one of hatred. He made that expression for Shannon, who didn't know how to do it herself. Madame and Lunan can fall into hell. That person knows... Whenever I talk in the Cannon voice, I always hold my hand like he does. I don't know why. It's just weird. That person knows where Madame checks and only cleans those areas. Her cleaning just now was like that. I know because I saw. She wasn't really cleaning. She's just the worst kind of parasite, leeching off your thorough cleaning. You mustn't use such dirty words. Dirty words pollute your clean soul, Cannon. So at least don't use those words in front of me, okay? Humph. Cannon turned away as though sulking. Hold on, coffee time. White chocolate mocha. It was a reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Cannon, but I was a little happy. Christ! He was getting mad for my sake. Cleaning the reception hall will be tough. I'll help. Thank you. But I was the one Madame ordered, so don't worry. Don't worry. Don't you also have your own work, Cannon? It's a filthy job. My soul was polluted long ago. Cannon then hung his head and bit his lower lip. Just hearing you say you'll help is enough for me. If you don't go back to your own job, then you'll be punished as well. And that would make me sad. Shannon knew Cannon's character well. Sometimes he didn't think enough about himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he'll help me even if it means neglecting his own job. So it's like Shannon is selfish and Cannon is selfless. Okay, that's a pretty good character contrast, I guess, between the two servants that we actually know. Who the fuck is Lunan? Cannon was a little sad that his goodwill had been rejected, But he realized that what he was doing would only hurt her more in the end, and he gave a single small sigh. Understood. Do your best, Shannon. Yes, and I am also partly to blame. You aren't at fault at all, Shannon. No, I am. So go now. Cannon's face showed that he still that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but without being any more obstinate, he disappeared. Even though Cannon came to give me words of comfort when I was down. Even so, I was dejected again because it wasn't him. That in itself was a sin. It went far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. I don't know my place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, already felt her concentration begin to waver. But if she didn't finish up cleaning the reception hall, she wouldn't receive Natsuhi's permission to eat. Yeah, that's just Natsuhi's permission. Isn't Kraus more in charge? Kraus could be like, Christ, Natsuhi isn't letting you eat. Here's a bagel. I mean, that should be good enough for now, right? That cruel Natsuhi... Did someone say bagel? Wrong game, please. Is that you, Togami? No! Well, partially no. That cruel Natsuhi had surely told the kitchen something to that effect. I have to respectfully receive Madame's punishment. That's right. My position in the world is furniture, and I've been intoxicated by a dream that's beyond me. Coffee time. Shatter. Or don't. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe my hunger made my nose more sensitive. I could sense a delicious aroma wafting from the kitchen, even though it was far away, and my empty stomach was encouraged even more. Until I finished up here, I wouldn't get any soup. I just had to resolve myself to doing it. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. I thought this was the entrance hall. I'm stupid. One of those portraits was thought to hold a special meaning amongst the servants. The portrait of Beatrice. I thought the portrait changed each arc, but I guess not. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair, drawn as the subject of that portrait, was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of Kinzo, the family head. And also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo the gold of the legend. The witch, Beatrice, master of the night on Rokenjima. She was gracious to those who respected her, but she would surely curse those who made light of her. Like Battler, haha. It was in Shannon's character not to neglect rules and beliefs such as those. So she thought of the portrait of her other master as that person herself, and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. And it had become part of her daily routine to tell the witch, who only existed inside the portrait, the secrets of her heart. She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain. Cannot complain. So she had no right to speak her mind about her difficult days. She had no right to open her mouth and say those words. So she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. She spoke her mind inside her heart, using words she couldn't say aloud, and protested to the formless witch. Of course, the witch didn't answer. She didn't console, and she didn't laugh it off. Shannon could only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was responding agreeably. Beatrice, please listen to the story of my worthless self. As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke that inside her heart, and I'll use her voice then. I certainly am incompetent and uncultured. Just as Eva said, I am not a person, so maybe I have no right to love. But in that case, why was I given a heart that can know love? At that point, Shannon held back her tears for a moment. The sound of the rain, which had started falling, along with the chill air in the reception hall, made her feel as though her shabbiness had increased another level. Real furniture doesn't have anything like a heart, so they don't have to love people, right? So they don't feel pain. If I'm just another piece of furniture, why do I have a heart? Christ, this is Umineko, not Kingdom Hearts. Let's calm down here. If it's going to be this painful and this harsh, I wish I was never given a heart like this. Ah, shit. I see. So a heart was given to furniture. It would seem that even that man is capable of quite some amusing things every now and then. What? The witch that never answered or laughed, answered and laughed. Was it my imagination? Was I hearing things? No, that's wrong! No, that's wrong! After all, the next words became a voice, and I could hear them, not with my heart, but with my ears. Humans have continually searched for the elements that make up the world since before the modern era. It is said that in ancient times, the Greeks tried explaining the world with the 4 elements of wind, fire, water, and earth. And after that, over several millennia, humans added several elements to those 4, trying to explain the world with several interpretations such as the 5 elements, the 6 elements, the 7 elements, the 8 elements, and the 12 elements. But they were never able to describe the one sole truth that exists, the single element. However, a single man appeared by the guidance of a star, and finally explained the single element that makes up the world. Know what that is? Oh, who? Shannon fearfully turned around. Sup, bitch? It's me, Beatrice! Right there, she existed. Not as an illusion, but as a reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was no mere daydream. It's love! The witch of the portrait elegantly held a golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. This game has great music, so I'm just gonna say that again. Someone go through this entire series and make a counter of that. Also, coffee time. She laughed at the ignorance that causes humankind's thoughts to stray far from the most simple answer. That man explained everything in the world with love. That is the single element. That man fully explained how the world was constructed with the smallest possible number. How simple and clear, how splendid, exhilarating, pleasant and thrilling. The year that man was finally born is called the start of the modern era. Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should be to ask that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew this person's name, so she refrained. No, surely it would be the greatest disrespect for someone who lived or worked on this island to ask this woman her name. After all, she was the other master of this island besides Kinzo. But Beatrice! Indeed, I am Beatrice. Okay, so she's... Yep, she exists in here now. And yeah, that's the same thing. I like looking at these because it's funny. It's just... Whoa! Never noticed that. Alright, back to new. Even after 1,000 years, I see that people still always give me that look when we first meet. The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. Shannon realized that she had met with a terrible fate, with a being that mustn't be met with. And she took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch, the witch's portrait was touching her back. The source of your troubles is love. Love, the single element that makes up this world. In other words, it is everything in this world. I'd say desire would probably make more sense to be a single element, but okay. When it is lacking, then your world is lacking too. It is no different from scooping water into a canteen with a hole in it. Except I already explained that away. You can just keep the cap on it and put the water in through the hole. Even if you scoop and scoop, that eternal desert of the heart never fills. It is the original sin that humans are founded upon, and everything is made of. Understand? When Adam and Eve put the fruit of knowledge to their lips, love is what they learned of. Because of that, humans were chased out of the garden and became fully human. Which means that knowing love and suffering is what makes one human. You kind-hearted child, you ought to be praised. Now that you have gained this knowledge, you are no longer furniture. You are now human. I recognize that with all the authority of my name. Is it hard for a common person to understand? Very well then. Forgive me. It has been a long time since I have spoken with a human. Allow me to apologize for my talkativeness. Without waiting for a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while. Perhaps this isn't much by way of an apology. but I would be willing to grant that wish of yours with my power if you so desire. Huh? The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance. I'm offering to bring you and the one you love together. Normally, I would demand something of equal value in return. However, I am in a good mood, and you have never failed to pay your respects to me in the past. That is something worth rewarding. Is that true? Normally, Shannon would have been shocked and struck dumb by this seemingly impossible guess. However, almost as though she was already under the witch's spell, Shannon responded, With my magic, it would be no trouble at all to arrange for you to be joined with the one you love. Yes, of course. Shannon almost said that without thinking, but held back with her last bit of common sense. After all, this is a witch, a sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks in my heart and take me prisoner. That sort of temptation, which so many fairy tale picture books warned me about when I was young, is right in front of me now. Fear is also a form of respect. It may be pleasant for me, but we will make no progress this way. I may not differ much from the image of a detestable witch that you hold in your mind. However, I do bestow my favor upon those who respect me. Aren't humans the same? Well, I doubt any human would bestow a favor upon one with such a hostile attitude. My apologies. I didn't mean... Shannon eventually realized how rude she was acting towards this guest, and she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are human. As she reflected upon those words, Shannon felt as though the witch understood all her worries. What was that, just now, about a reward? I say that I can arrange for you to be joined with the man who has captured your heart. Think of it as a sign of my gratitude for your diligence in polishing my portrait day after day. Calm yourself, I ask for nothing in return. I am generous. However, though I ask for nothing in return, I do have a request. Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she'd read when she was little had warned her about. Do you know of the small torii and shrine that have been constructed on the ocean very near this island, which you can see when you gaze at the cliffs? Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Rokanjima by boat, there was a torii and a shrine on a reef that was too small to be called even an islet. Islet? I don't know. I'm gonna say islet. I'm pretty sure Kumasawa told me its history, but I can't remember it well. A traveling Shugenja, a kind of holy man, had built it or prayed there or something. Yes, I know about it, but why do you bring it up? I will not explain everything, including the very basics, to one ignorant of demons. Simply put, it's causing me trouble. The truth is, there's a mirror kept inside that shrine. I want you to break it. It was quite a suspicious request. Shannon didn't know the details, but anything stored inside a shrine would have to be something sacred. And she wants me to break it? Why would a witch ask a human for help instead of doing it herself? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice responded to Shannon's reasonable doubt before Shannon could give her an answer. The magical power of that mirror opposes my own. I cannot explain it well with human words. For some reason, whenever I look into it, I teleport from the dark world to the light world. For example, let us speak of the differences between utensils. That mirror is a fork and my power is soup. You cannot drink soup with a fork, correct? If only the resistance of that mirror were gone, I could produce a spoon ideal for drinking soup. After that, I could drink soup as I pleased, and even dig my way out of a rocky prison. I could even gouge someone's eye out with it. Was that not the phrase? I don't know what you're talking about. If my poor education is to blame, I apologize. It comes down to this. If you take action and break that annoying mirror for me, I shall grant your wish as a reward. I'm in quite a good mood today. You may even change your wish and receive all the gold I bestowed upon Kinzo if you so desire. I lost my breath halfway through that sentence, so the voice just fucked up completely. I refuse. What? Oh boy. When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed. If you have a reason, tell me. If there's been some misunderstanding, I shall resolve it. I don't really understand the reason.
But up until now, this island has been at peace and nothing bad has happened. So even if I don't break the mirror, the peace that has existed until today should continue into the future. Yes, you are quite right. It's just as you say. If you don't break the mirror, the same unbreakable days that have passed until now will continue until tomorrow and to the next day. Why don't I give you an absolute guarantee? I shall stake my name, Beatrice, on it. The unbreakable days before this time will continue into tomorrow and the next day, and for eternity, in perpetuity. Oh. That's an interesting sound effect. It sounds like some Undertale shit, seriously. Shannon felt overwhelmed by an eerie illusion. The witch probably existed for the purpose of the mirror probably existed for the purpose of restraining the witch. So if Shannon broke it, the person who stood to gain was supposedly the witch herself. And yet Shannon felt somehow that she had to do it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched around. I will do nothing but grant you a chance to bring your feelings to fruition. It's up to you to decide whether you'll break it or not. If you break it, I shall grant your wish. If you don't, the tomorrows that came before today will continue for all eternity. Your wish will not be granted for all time. Do you understand? Do you see what I mean? Shatter. Oh, it's this music. The witch was speaking. She was pressing Shannon, saying she must break the mirror if she ever wanted to be united with George. It was a declaration that Shannon's feelings would never be brought to fruition unless she broke it. Please, stop it. I don't want to hear something like that. It was never my goal to cause you pain. Oh well. When love leads to madness, that is when we see the true charm of humanity. Enjoy that emotion to your heart's content. However, if you wish to borrow my power, feel free to break that mirror at any time, and then you may yell my name and awaken me. I will certainly keep my promise. This way, you should have no complaints, right? I won't force you to decide right now. Easy, is it not? Was it really such an easy thing to do? No, it certainly wasn't. To Shannon, who was burning with infatuation and worried by love, being tempted constantly and eternally with a way out was truly a cruel trial. I won't set a time limit on that promise, but there is a time limit on the magic that can grant your wish. That limit is not of my making. The one you love will decide it himself. You see my meaning? No, I don't understand.
That means George has a time limit until he has to marry someone, right?
When the one you care for finds a partner to whom he ought to pledge his love, that limit will be reached. I may be a witch, but I am no demon. I possess no magic to tear apart a pair of those who love each other. The one you love will soon be attending a marriage meeting, yes? You may have stronger feelings for that man than anyone else in the world. However, that doesn't mean you are the most suitable partner for him, does it? I know with whom he will be having his marriage meeting. That girl is the most suitable for Ushiromiya George in the entire world. I think Beatrice is supposed to be saying this. She came from a good school, achieved good grades, and possesses both composure and thoughtfulness. She is more beautiful than you, wiser than you, more suitable than you. How could an ignorant, incompetent, uncultured girl like you be more suitable? You know better than anyone. There are none less suitable than you. Even imagining that you and Ushiromiya George could be joined is sinful and foolish. 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 Know your place. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place. Beatrice and Eva are the same person, essentially. George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushiromiyas family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Did you really think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant? Stop it! Don't bully Shannon! Who the hell are you? At that time, as Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words, Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. If this was an enemy tormenting Shannon, whom he loved and respected as a servant, nothing else mattered. Cannon, stay back! This person is... Oh boy. It seemed Cannon also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait, and also that she was something to be feared. I simply wish to give Shannon a chance to claim her reward, but it seems I said too much and ended up hurting her. Coffee time. I must apologize for that. But I shall leave behind that promise as a reward to you. If you need my power, call me at any time. I have already told you how. Well then, let us call it a night. Hostile gazes may be pleasant, but they damage your beauty, yes? Disappear. I don't know who you are, but you're threatening Shannon. Don't ever show yourself again. Cannon's words seem to deeply annoy the witch. Watch your language, lowborn. Lowborn? Christ, I like that. I may be gracious to those who respect me, but I am brutal to those who do not. While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. Then an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed with any of the five senses gradually filled the room. Even though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized it was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean and something large passes by in the water beneath you, you want to escape to land even before you learn what it is. That's exactly what this was like. But please stop, Beatrice. Cannon is still a child. I apologize for his language. Cannon placed his body between the witch and Shannon. There was tense sweat on his forehead. Okay, stabby stabby time! At that time, the witch certainly held Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand. She didn't even need to lift a finger. She held a grasp on his fate so tight that if a single twist of her smile could easily crush it. Cannon understood that as well, so he started sweating. His knees felt weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. No, Kumasawa's spaghetti. However, Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed. Can we stop breathing heavy, Redeads? Very well. Oh, thanks for turning off your fucking mummies. Also, something I want to say is, when I finished watching the anime, I had no clue what actually happened. But one thing that I do want to say for sure, I do not think that all the murders were carried out through magic. They were definitely carried out through, as Battler would put it, humans and tricks. But I still do think that the witches and all them exist, just in a different capacity, you know? They exist on the island, but they cannot intervene on the island. You get it? Also, I don't remember if I said this back when Burncastle was introduced, but I definitely think that she has some sort of parallel to Rika from Higurashi. Whether that be a reincarnation of Rika from a different timeline where she failed, or Rika from a failed timeline where everyone but her died. I don't know. Regardless, though, another thing I'm going to say is, as far as I am aware, Umineko takes place in the exact same universe as Higurashi. Therefore, the rules of Higurashi apply in Umineko. Which means that Hanyu was a real person in Higurashi, and she was also an immortal goddess. Which means the supernatural definitely exists in some capacity in Umineko, but I do still think that the murders were not carried out in a supernatural way. If you ask, I will forgive you just this once. Canon, is it? In deference to her, I shall forgive you tonight and send you off. You ought to thank me. Well then, let us call it a night. In parting, I shall leave you with a small souvenir. Hold out the palm of your left hands, you two. When Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, their left hands... That was my Facebook. Their left hands stretched out in front of them against their will, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands now belonged to someone else. It felt like only their left hands had become puppets, which were being pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling. What are you trying to do? Cannon resisted, but he couldn't retract his hand of his own free will. Don't struggle, it will be over soon. When Beatrice held her pipe aloft, a gold-colored, sparkling dust came out of the smoke and hovered in the air. That sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. A fuck-ton of golden butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, forming a fantastical and beautiful world. And two of those butterflies alighted on the palms of Shannon's and Cannon's hands. Question mark? Exclamation point. Ouch! There was a sharp pain, as though they had been burned. When the two of them tried to examine their palms, that hold on their bodies, which had been there a second ago, had gone without a trace.
Mark? What is...
There was now a tiny burn mark on the palm of her hand, and it was shaped like a butterfly.
What is this supposed to be?
Apparently, Cannon had the same mark on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully.
A simple greeting. I have no hidden motive. It is nothing more than a bruise, so it will heal in just a few days. There's not even any need to care for it. I made that mark so that tomorrow, you will not forget that I truly was here, and that I made a promise with you.
What the fuck? There we go.
An encounter with me can be quite shocking. Sometimes, when the next morning comes, people try to think of an encounter as a dream or an illusion. You ought to consider this slowly and carefully, Shannon. And you should probably take a good rest, look at my mark tomorrow morning, and try considering it again. I shall not coerce you in any way. You should freely decide your future by your own will. Still, to think that one could obtain the object of their desire for such a small price. Surely this would annoy to no end the great artists who write plays about belighted love. Well then, let us meet again when the chance arises. How entertaining it is to have a conversation again after so much time. Goodbye, furniture.
Okay, adios. Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No, a cloud of gold butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden swash before disappearing into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. It was so silent, it made both of them think they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago. Which was why the witch had left those marks. She had done so to make it impossible for them to think of this as a daydream. As Shannon and Cannon remembered the butterfly bruises on their hands and the pain they'd felt when they'd been made, they kept standing still, stunned. And from that moment on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Oh boy. It's not a shatter, but rather a flower transition, or foliage. The foliage page turn. I don't know. Christ, it must have got real cold out, or maybe even started snowing, because my windows are frosted over. That's fun. So did you finish cleaning the reception hall? Oh, this is a new room.
What? What do you mean separate rooms? So wait, you and George stayed in different rooms on purpose? Yes. Is it really so strange?
Okay, so this must have been after she broke the mirror. Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with a chocolate-coated chinsuko, a chinchow, no! Biscuit that Shannon had brought as a present from Okinawa. And it all came flying out at Shannon when Jessica cried out.
Shannon, why did you even go on a trip to Okinawa? You were even alone with George. Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. And I like fish and stuff.
Okay.
No, that's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and a girl going on an overnight trip, right? And you're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses? And seriously, what's up with the guy and girl staying in different rooms? As for kisses, no comment. But we did hug. George's chest was warm. That's not the point. Ah, jeez. Why do couples like this exist? Ah, jeez! I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna go train my chinchow.
New canon. Jessica has a chinchow. Imagine if Pokemon were real, Chinchou would actually be a pretty cool one to have, come to think of it. Lantern's cuter, but Chinchou's kinda cool. Chinchou just has this different feeling to it that, Lantern doesn't have. From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons. But it looked like Jessica found their pace to be pretty irritating. Yeah, that'll happen. For a while, Jessica chewed her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint in agony on her bed. Hyper Lucario's now playing Scribblenauts Unlimited. I remember that guy. I used to play SCB with him, Super Craft Brothers on Minecraft. Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since their relationship had started at an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be to an aquarium must have held some commemorative value. That's like a huge commemorative turning point. And your first overnight trip? How could you not make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms? A couple taking 2 single rooms? Ah, geez, seriously, what's wrong with you?
But we are both unmarried. George is showing restraint as good manners for a couple.
Like I said, the whole point of this overnight trip was so you could overcome that stage, right? You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging by now.
Milady, I don't know what you mean by that. But George was a real gentleman with me until the end. That is, I also wondered if those things would happen, you know? But even though we are going out, it's not like we're married or anything.
Aren't you engaged, though?
These things you seem to be expecting, should only be done after making a vow before God,
Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, restlessly intertwining, separating, and making heart marks with them. Oh my god. Is that actually a thing that Japanese girls do sometimes? Because I remember I saw that once in an anime, Baka and Test, and I was just like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, sure, do that, or whatever, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen. And apparently it's not just a little gag that they put into that, so that's great. Apparently the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her. Christ. I want a boyfriend too! I can't believe you got ahead of me! Even though we promised that we'd find boyfriends at the same time, you beat me! Arrgh!
You're a wonderful person, milady, so I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than me.
Don't try to console me! Shannon, you traitor! Get out! Shut up! Oh boy, asthma attack. Jessica threw several cushions at her. Christ, Jessica. But midway, she had an asthma attack and started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's, bronchodilator. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around. She breathed in the medicine, and after a while managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Excuse me. Shannon thought this a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. Ow! She noticed that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half of her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek.
Milady? Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird? What are you saying? I think your hair is very beautiful. Then, are my eyes strange, or maybe my nose?
Anime characters hardly have noses.
Or is it the way I talk after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend? Of course not, milady. You're wonderful enough as you are, and I think your charm will keep on increasing more and more from now on.
But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Saku and Hina manage to get boyfriends, but only I can. Who the fuck are Saku and Hina? Is it because I don't have any charm after all? You know, everyone says they'll bring their boyfriends to the cultural festival, and I was so sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one. Before she realized it, Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course, she felt like supporting Shannon's progress and love as a friend. However, as she had cheered Shannon on, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. The rough style of speech Jessica usually used was all just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Ushiromiyas family, and as a girl isolated on Rokkanjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that, so she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only a little. Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry.
You're a wonderful person, milady. There's no way you won't find a wonderful man.
Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji and Mom will get mad. I don't think Genji can get mad. Actually, you would be very, very surprised. I stubbed my toe the other day and ow! Motherfucker, it hurts! He starts screaming like a fucking dinosaur whenever he gets hurt. I'm just fine, so hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron. Jessica faced away, acting as though she didn't really want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes, but for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. I also want to fall in love. Cannon to the rescue! If only, right? Well, I don't even remember if he does. Maybe he does, I don't know. As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch. Beatrice! Oh, wow. It's been quite some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since last we met? As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses. And it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over, but this was a witch after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. Yes, thanks to you, it's going smoothly. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. I understand that. This is Umineko after all, not Fate Stay Night. Despite kinda having somewhat similar concepts, both being based off a visual novel. Well, both being visual novels. I mean, the only difference is you can make Fortnite jokes with Fate Stay Night. Fort Stay Night. Fate Fortnite. Fortnite, just in general. The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that'd be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well. Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. What do I have to do with this? You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget even to thank them. They're like bus drivers. No, we're not getting into that. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George together would never have happened. I've never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Fucking same. Fist bump, Beatrice. Oh, fuck yeah. Let's go, man. Oh, fuck, that's the down arrow. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun. Did you seal the envelope? No. Yes, it was very, fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation. Alrighty, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart, without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led to her current relationship with George. So Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared. That's right. Beatrice? I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you, like to try some too? Oh, fuck yes! A souvenir for a witch? It It seemed that even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined that she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time. Shatter. No? Oh, now they're still talking. Cool. Ho ho, an Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of the Japanese and Western styles. The Silk Road of sweets. I like that. What? What's so funny? That expression, that's what's funny.
Nothing. My apologies.
The witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter. Christ, she really is similar to Maria. A good meal. I should serve you some Dulce Vita from Nero one of these days. I don't know what Dulce Vita means, but I know Nero has something to do with Italy. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dulce would be appropriate for you now. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy.
Here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this.
Again, I'm going to say this. I do not think that the witches can intervene in the world. I think they can only be overseers. So I think this Beatrice here is not Beatrice, you know? I think this is one of the family members, although I'm not sure who. Alright, time to check eye colors. Blue. Doubt it'd be Kumasawa unless that's a fuck ton of makeup. Red. Orange. Purple. Like, teal? Brown, more. Fucking massive blue eyes, and I doubt it'd be Maria, but she has, like, purplish eyes. So, really the only people it would be are Shannon or Jessica, and Shannon's talking to Beatrice right now. I mean, oh god, come on, they even have the same, like, essentially the same hair color. It would not be hard. Only difference is Beatrice seems to be a little taller, but it could easily just be, like, high heels. Is she the same height as anyone else? She's a little taller than Rosa. I think if any of the females are taller than Beatrice, then I feel like then they wouldn't be able to be, Beatrice. I still think that it's going to be a different culprit who's Beatrice each chapter, and I definitely think of a Shannon in the first one, and Beatrice is taller than Shannon, so yeah. Eva's actually the same height, it seems. And then Natsuhi is about the same height too, then Kyrie is also about the same height. Kumasawa is certainly shorter. It could also be a 19th person, we don't know that for sure. Is it Goda? Definitely not. Regardless, yeah, I think it could be any of these for any case, really. But I feel like the most likely, from how this one's acting so far, I mean, she's acting very similar to Maria, which I think Maria's the only girl I can discount as being able to disguise herself as Beatrice. I feel like, judging from their behavior, it's either Eva. It's probably Eva, actually, with how she likes candy. It's probably Eva this time, so we'll go with that.
Here, I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this.
The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-covered butterfly brooch.
There is no need to return it. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity. Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together, but I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever.
Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot.
Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may keep it you may wear it or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill, given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all.
Actually, come to think of it, if Beatrice actually brought Shannon and George together, it might not make sense for it to be Rosa, and probably in that case not Natsuhi either. So, perhaps it's Kumasawa with a fuck ton of makeup? And obviously, colored contacts are a thing that exists. It could be Kyrie.
And it could be, perhaps, I don't see how it'd be Rosa. I feel like she doesn't have any sympathy for, any of the servants either. Even if she is the youngest sibling and probably not taken seriously as often. Wait, hair color check. I mean, it's similar. Oh, wow, she even has a tuft in the middle that kind of goes to the right. Well, hers is more to the right anyways. Whatever.
My apologies. That's not what I...
No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits, or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love, or you can simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons, to give them some tool imbued with magical power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had been given with disgust. So it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely, even those who had relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was surely something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. No, it's probably Eva. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion for the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times, and it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Nazi got really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Nazi on the head with her pipe. What? I see, Nazi really doesn't notice a thing. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking and had gotten scolded even more.
Then, what about the Master? I hear he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice.
Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talents that I pity him. As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest's lack of magic talents as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Ushiromiyas family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch Beatrice. In other words, she must have had some kind of relationship with Kinzo. That was because he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician.
And that's something really incredible, right?
Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts.
And then, the magic summoned Beatrice with the power of magic.
Wait, the Master did. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, there was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's when my luck ran out. Well, I know this isn't, like, a break, but I'm still going to, be done for now, because it's 10:30, and I gotta get ready to go to Olive Garden. Regardless, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye! Coffee time.